Hello and welcome to the Open News. The date of recording is April the 21st. For today's stories we have Manjaro looking for testers for its new release, Ubuntu Touch OTA-12 release date and features announced and release candidate released, System 76 releases beta for the upcoming PopOS 20.04 release, and Firefox releases the public beta of Firefox 76. All that and more right now on the Open News. For our first story, we have an announcement from Manjaro Linux. They're seeking testers for the Manjaro Gnome 20 release. Features of the new GNOME edition include an update to the GNOME version included with Manjaro to GNOME 3.36, support for snaps and flatpaks in Manjaro's default package manager, the removal of several programs that were becoming a little bit superfluous, and improvements to Manjaro GNOME's modifications to GNOME that bring it much closer to the appearance of stock GNOME. I think this is news that a lot of people are going to be quite excited about, as Manjaro has been gathering steam quite a lot lately. However, I wouldn't recommend going out and using this as your primary OS, as it's still in beta. But absolutely, I'd encourage everyone listening to go out, try it in a virtual machine or a spare computer, and report back to Manjaro with your experiences. I'll have a link in the description to where you can download the development release. And for our next story, we have an update from the team over at UBport. They've announced their first OTA since October of last year, Ubuntu Touch OTA-12, and you can test it right now through the Release Candidate Update channel. Highlights of this update include an upgrade to Mir, a rebasing of the Lomiri desktop to the newest version of Unity 8 released by Canonical, and the removal of the scope home screen type interface. The last of those updates has proven to be somewhat controversial. There's been quite a lot of discussion about it over on the forum thread titled I Want to Go Home. I have personally decided to try out the new release candidate for Ubuntu Touch OTA-12 and it works very well. And honestly, the removal of scopes isn't that bad. And it does free the UBports team from awful code that the scopes apparently had, according to the UBports team. The only thing I would say is the removal of the scopes does leave a lot of blank space on the home screen, so maybe that's something the UBports team can work on. Once again, you can try the OTA-12 for yourself by switching your Ubuntu Touch device to use the released candidate channel. Or if you're a PinePhone owner, you should have all the changes included in OTA-12 anyway, as the PinePhone does not yet have a stable release. But once again, as with Manjaro, I wouldn't recommend using this on your main device, but I would absolutely recommend you trying this on a secondary device if you have one, and report back to the UBports team about your experiences by using the UBport forums. And for our third story, we have an article from Gaming on Linux, which is a fantastic source for Linux news, mainly focused on gaming. Linux distribution PopOS has a beta release for the upcoming 20.04 with automatic window tiling. Indeed, this week seems to be the week of beta releases, as System 76, the company behind PopOS, have released the beta for their upcoming release to PopOS, their sort of in-house Linux distribution. The main feature of this new release is quite widely talked about, and it's this feature called auto tiling. Essentially what this is it's a GNOME add-on which adds tiling to GNOME. This mimics the sort of features you'd get with a tiling window manager like i3, while also being much easier to use and get set up. Other cool features in this release include a new app switcher and launcher, as well as Flatpak support by default in the PopOS store. So all in all, it's shaping up to be a fantastic release, and you can try it out by going over to System 76's GitHub page. But once again, I don't recommend using this on your primary system, but I absolutely recommend you give it a go in a virtual machine. And for our last story, we have a news story from 925 Linux about everyone's favourite web browser, Firefox. Firefox 76 promises new security features, improved picture-in-picture. Indeed, Firefox 76 has entered public beta not long after the release of Firefox 75. Some of the most important features of this new Firefox release are security related. For example, Firefox 76 will check your saved logins against a list of compromised accounts to warn you in case your account gets compromised. Additionally, Firefox will also improve the video player picture-in-picture feature by allowing users to enter full screen by double-clicking the window. So all in all, Firefox 76 is summing up to be a great release with some very useful features. Once again, if you want to try it, the link is in the description where you can go ahead and download the public beta. And that's it for today's edition of Open News. All of the articles and stories covered in this video are in the description, and if you enjoyed this video you can find my LBRY channel in the description as well. With that said, I will see you next week for the next episode of Open News. I thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.